All right, so what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back, and today we're just gonna be talking, going over the Auburn Georgia game from yesterday, and obviously, it was a struggle win for us. I won't lie, it was a very much a struggle win for my Georgia Bulldogs, but it's all good. We got the win in the end. I was definitely not screaming and crying the entire time, but yeah, man. Let's go over the stress real quick. First of all, we got Carson back. I've been on him lately, and if you come from Kangaroo, Black Show, or Uncle Lou, you would know me that I don't rate Carson Beck that highly. Like, to be honest with you, coming into the beginning of the season, I wanted Brock Vandagriff to start over Carson Beck, but it's all good, man. Carson Beck's the guy, and despite the mistake that Kirby Smart made in the past with QBs when it came to choosing Drake Fromm over Justin Fields, I think maybe this year he'll have Carson Beck. He'll be right about Carson Beck. And we haven't seen Brock Vandagriff, and who knows if he'd be better than Carson Beck. But Carson Beck stat wise, he went 23 completed passes and a total of 33 attempted passes. He had a 313-yard game, so he obviously yardage wise had a good game. So his stats throwing wise, it was good. I mean, only missed 10 passes. So I in terms of the his but in terms of his consistency in the first half, he had the interception, which he had. Obviously, he had one touchdown, one interception. That interception he had in the first half, if I remember correctly, yeah, it was. Sorry, I'm recording this very late at night, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, so he had the one interception. It was very disappointing to see, but he made up for it in the second half where he really woke up. He really had the majority of his yards, which of course was 313 in total, as I said, and he had the one touchdown. And of course, he had Brock Bowers. We'll get to that later, but Brock Bowers, his boy. But yeah, from Carson Beck, it was really just a tale of two halves. He really had the first half. He had a stinker of a performance in the first quarter specifically. Um, but yeah, Carson Beck, he's getting into it. He had a really good second half, and I'm not gonna throw in the towel. I mean, in the heat of the moment, I'll call him shit, but it's fine. Uh, yeah, but yeah, for Carson Beck, in terms of his performance, it was okay. Could have done way better, but yeah. So moving on now to the rest of the offense. In terms of the rushing game, I'm gonna go over that real quick. It wasn't that good. I mean, our top rusher was Dejon Edwards. He had 19 carries for 76 yards and averaged 4 yards a gain. He did have two touchdowns, yes, but in terms of the average yardage he had during this game, it wasn't the best. Of course, watching the game, our running game couldn't get going that well, but Deshaun Edwards, there's no doubt he's our best running back at the moment. And Dylan Bell was the second. He didn't have that much either. He had 25 yards in total. And then you had Bowers, Beck were the other rushing guys, but they had 6 and 3 yards. And Cash Jones, he carried it once and had 1 yard. I believe that was towards the end of the game, if I remember correctly. But in terms of our receiving, of course, Brock Bowers by far was the target man. 8 receptions, 157 yards, 19 yards per uh on average. Excuse me, and he had a TD as well. He had a touchdown with that. So in terms of Brock Bowers specifically, he had a great game. He was our number one. He was number one uh receiver, I guess, in terms of his ability to catch the ball. And that is not a joke, ladies and gentlemen. We've had drop balls all season, and it seems to me that Brock Bowers is the only one who can catch. Of course, Brock Bowers did have two drop balls in the end zone. However, it was more of a breakup pass and good defending by Auburn, more so than it was Brock Bowers not being able to catch. But yeah, Brock Bowers had a really good game. He's a tight end, but he's being used like a wide receiver, man. I mean, he has when he gets going, his speed as well. His speed is not normal. I mean, we know this, man. He's one of, if not the best college football player currently in terms of just raw talent. Um, and of course, we have Marcus Rosemy Jack Saint. He had 44 yards, 2 receptions, average 22. And then Lad McConkey, he's back from injury. He had a decent game, 38 yards, but nothing too crazy. Dominic Lovett, Robert Thomas, Dylan Bell, Oscar Delt, Cash Jones also getting in there as our top in terms of receiving top players. But obviously Brock Bowers was just ahead of all of them. And Hopefully, we can get guys like Dominic Lovett, Robert Thomas, and Matt McConkey back into it. Rosemary Jackson as well, and Dylan Bell. He had a terrible drop pass, but yeah, of course there was another pass where he got overthrown by Carson Beck. But it's all good, man. I'm sure we'll. I believe strongly in our receiving core, and I think we'll be able to get better as the season get better as the season progresses in terms of our receiving abilities, because we most definitely have much better receivers than we do running backs this year. Now, in terms of our defense, we had a lackluster performance to say the least. I mean, you put up 20. You look at the scoreboard alone, you know the defense. They allowed 20 points. Um, got we of course we had Mikael Williams back um from injury. He's a guy that we've been excited about, but even our secondary with guys like Lassiter, uh, Malachi Starks, Javon Bullard, it was a struggle. And Auburn had didn't have that many deep throws though. So in terms of our ability to our corners and safeties and stuff like that, and their ability to cover the wide receivers today or yesterday's game, it was good. They did pretty well. They didn't Auburn in terms of their ability to pass the ball. I mean, here, pulling up the Auburn wide receiving numbers, their top receiver had 4 receptions for 44 yards. So our secondary held up the passing game really well. In terms of the running game for Auburn, that is where the strength was, and our defense didn't hold up that well. And of course, their QB, they played multiple. They were just Auburn was just cycling QBs throughout this game, but their main guy Peyton Thorne had had multiple good runs. He had 92 yards rushing. He's a QB. He was their top rusher, and so our defense got caught off by that. But in terms of the passing game, like I said, it was good. Rushing game, not so much. But of course, our defense needs work. They allowed 20 points. They allowed Auburn to put up 20 points. But of course, Malachi Starks had that game-ending interception towards the end, and of course, Malachi Starks is our star player on that defense, especially on that secondary. And but yeah, we're looking for that front seven, man. That has had those linebackers, those offensive linemen where we had quality first-round draft pick NFL talent like Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, N'Kobe Dean, um, stuff like that. Stuff like that. Players like that. So we don't have that with Zion Logue or uh, Small Munden, etc. We don't have those guys. They're talented. Our front seven, we still have talent. It's UGA. We're gonna have talented front set. We're gonna have the talented players everywhere on the defense with Kirby Smart. However, it's not the same as it used to be. However, I'm sure the defense will keep improving. If one thing's for sure, the defense will always keep improving under Kirby Smart. But yeah, that's really just the overall review on my Georgia Bulldogs. But special teams, nothing too special there. Same as usual. And of course, special teams is important. However, nothing. All right, final thoughts on the game. Just a few things to go over. First off is, of course, the main issue for us ball security. Multiple fumbles. We had a very crucial fumble, which led to a touchdown for the Auburn Tigers. And we had key guys dropping it and just fumbling, dropping passes, etc., etc. I believe on a kickoff or punt, the Muse dropped the ball as well. So a lot of ball security problems for special teams and the offense. Um, that needs to be worked on. I'm not sure what's going on. Kirby Smart needs to put that in check because I've been yelling like when I was watching the game yesterday, I was yelling ball security. So ball security is a huge problem for us. But yeah, ball security was a big problem yesterday. It pretty much gave up 7 points, gave Auburn a great field position. But another problem was again the first half. First half starts, man, and this is gonna hurt us. And if we make it to the playoff, which I think we will, that's gonna hurt us. In the SEC championship game or the playoff, or more competitive games like that, it will absolutely kill us in those high caliber games. Even games like Ole Miss and Tennessee game later on in the season, it will absolutely destroy us because of the slow starts. teams with high quality talent will take advantage of that and will put the game away. So that way you can't come back no matter how good your second half is. But that offensive line, Carson Beck, Mike Bobo, etc. Those three main pieces of offense is where we have trouble, and I believe those are the three weaknesses and the three biggest problems for us. But they need to improve. That's all they can do at this point. Is they need to improve what we do in the second half. Do it in the first. Do it in the first half because if we can't do it in the first half, we're not going to be able to beat the Alabamas, the Texas, the Texas, uh, even teams like FSU, Ohio State, nor Michigan, etc. All these teams that can make the playoff, or teams that we might LSU even at this point. Uh, regardless of the team, any team that is better than Auburn will probably take advantage of those opportunities better than Auburn did today, and they did take advantage of our slow start. I mean, they had a 10-0 lead at one point in the first quarter, and we had to call back, and only we're able to only manage 10 points in the second quarter. So, and in the second half, it's not like Auburn went to sleep. They still put up 10 points in the second half. We only outscored them by 7 points, as we put up a total of 17 in the second, and they put up 10. So in terms of our ability to put up more points than them, we only outscored them by 7, which is the reasoning why the final score was 27-20. But in terms of our ability to finish games and have a 10 point, 20 point lead, we have not been able to do that yet against SEC opponents, Auburn and Arkansas and South Carolina. Excuse me. Of course, that's only 2 games, and we will get better as we play more SEC caliber teams. But it needs to get better now, sooner than later. We have a home match against Kentucky next week. I believe my Georgia Bulldogs will get the job done, and I believe we will get together and have a proper 15, 20 point win over the University of Kentucky next week. But of course, we'll do a preview for that when that comes along later this week. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's review. And just a quick side note, as I know, um, this is brand new. I will be getting much better at this. I don't have a script. I'm just talking, so that's why I stutter sometimes. But I'll try and edit it out the best I can. But yeah, I'm a Georgia fan, so I'm gonna cover a lot of Georgia things. I'm gonna do live shows, etc. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on these games in the comments. Let me know if you disagree with me or not. But yeah, so the final score: Georgia 27, Auburn Tigers 20, and we'll see y'all for the review of the Georgia Bulldogs versus the Kentucky Wildcats. Have a good night and go Dogs.